Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are glad to have you here with us on this Friday evening. Hopefully you are staying cool inside because it is very hot outside. But the light of Shabbat will warm us all from inside for sure. If you're here with us on Zoom, you know that you can find the link for the Siddur in the chat. If you're with us on Facebook Live with any of our watch parties or on the Temple Beth-El page, then the link is there in the comment section. And if you're with us on live stream, whether it's on the Temple website or it is on our Roku or our Apple or any of the other ways that we can connect in, you can see the link below for the Siddur to follow along with us. But for now, we want to remind you all to be fully present. If you need to leave this prayer space, we invite you to leave your camera where it is. When we're rising, remember that what you see is what we see, and let's all show our smiling, wonderful faces towards each other as we celebrate Shabbat together. We're going to begin with our screen share with the candle blessings, and you can join me as we welcome Shabbat with light. No? Yes?
We're going to start with a nigun.
We are going to start with a nigun that, thank you, with Cantor Berlin and Rabbi Berlin are going to lead us in. Thank you.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la
Now we will go to our screen share with our candle reading as Rabbi Nathan lights our Shabbat candles this evening.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Please join me in Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim ki banu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Chaya.
Amen. Chaim. We continue with Tov Lehodot, which is on your screen.
We're coming. We're having a dog problem tonight.
Apologize.
No children are here to watch our dogs. Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך העליון. טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך העליון. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותעבר הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותעבר השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ.
We go now to Legato D, which will appear on your screen momentarily. And as we do our 4 verses together, that last verse, Boiva Shalom, typically in our sanctuary, we will rise, face the entrance to our sanctuary, and bow, welcoming that Sabbath spirit. If you feel up to it, you can rise and face the entrance of your home and feel the love around you, even if we are not in that physical space together, so that we can greet that Sabbath spirit as one community.
שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במקשבה תחילה. ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה, בואי חלה. La la la
are going to invite you to turn on your videos and unmute yourself so that we can say Shabbat Shalom to one another, greeting that Sabbath spirit in a face-to-face sort of way. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Hello.
Melissa.
Shabbat shalom.
Hello.
Hey, Michael.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Proud
Hi,
tonight.
Kristen, Marcia.
Shabbat
Awesome
shalom.
crowd. So we are going to mute
Hi,
you
Mara.
again. Not that we don't want you to continue saying Shabbat Shalom, but we'll have another opportunity at the end of services. We are going to continue with Chatzi Kaddish, which can be found on page 145. And if you are not already standing, and if you are to stand, I invite you to do so now.
Vitkara shemir rabba amen. Belma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chai echon uv'yom echon. Uv'chayerecho beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala. Uv'izman kariv. V'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shemir rabba mevorach. Le'olam u'lomei hamaya yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitshama v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh, v'yit'ala shemei kodesha b'richu, leila min kol birchatav v'shiratav, tushbechata v'nechemata, Tamiran be'ama v'yimeru. Amen.
We continue on page 147 with Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, B'chokhmah Poteach Sha'arim, Uvit Vuna Mishane Itim, Umachalif Et Hazmanim, Umisader Et HaKochavim, B'mishmerotehem Barakia Kirtzono. Borei Yom V'Laila, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech V'Choshech Mipnei Or, Uma'avir Yom Umevi Laila, Umabdil Bein Yom Uvein Laila, Adonai Tzavaot Shemo, El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue on page 148. In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment we are addressed by the world. In each age we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment we stand face to face with truth. In each age we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment the knowing heart is filled with wonder. In each age the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Baruch Ata Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod You may be seated. Please join me in the Hafta on page 150. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On page 151, we read together. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learn God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. On page 153. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us the shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue with the Amidah on page 155, and if you are able, please rise.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה כל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומותיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני הקדוש.
We continue on page 160, reading together. These hours, you may be seated. Sorry about that. Please be seated. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. We continue together on page 164 as we say together our prayer for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness in our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. As we move now to Misha Berach, we think of those who are in need of healing of mind, body, and spirit. Those who are in need of physical healing, whether that be from COVID or not. Those who need emotional and or spiritual healing. We see the names of those people from our community on our screen. And we take a moment and say the names out loud of those who you'd like to add. The words of Misha Berach can be found on page 253.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We take a moment now for our own silent prayers.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'imromav.
This week's Torah portion, Re'eh, has Moses reminding us that we are an Am Segula, God's treasured people, but also that we must choose between a life of blessing or curse. As we all know, what constitutes a blessing or a curse is not always exactly apparent. And just because we follow all the rules set before us, it doesn't mean that everything will go the way we had hoped or planned. When we are confronted with a difficult or seemingly no-win situation, it is so essential to consider all options, look for the good in everyone and everything, and then make the best decision you know how. I have a story to share tonight that illustrates this very Jewish ideal. Most of the townspeople could remember exactly where they were and what they were doing the night the alarms sounded in their peaceful little kingdom. Trumpets blared, torches were lit, and messengers raced through the streets. Was it an invading army, a flood, an earthquake? No, as it turned out, it was merely the loss of the Queen's favorite diamond. Everyone was relieved, of course, except for the Queen. To her, losing an exquisite jewel was far worse than any natural disaster. "Find that jewel, do you hear me?" she raged at her attendants. "Find that jewel and the criminal who dared to steal it from me, or you'll all find yourselves in the dungeon. Is that perfectly clear?" The Queen had a terrible temper. "But, Your Highness, Your most gracious Majesty," said the royal chamberlain, bowing low. "It wasn't stolen, it was just misplaced." "Misplaced?" she shrieked. "How does one misplace a 20-carat diamond?" The chamberlain kept his eyes on the floor. "Well, you see, your jewels were being brought from your country estate to the palace, and the carriage overturned and rolled down a hill. Don't worry, though, no one was hurt." "Get to the part about my diamond," the Queen interrupted. "Well, the trunk broke open and everything spilled out. We found the emeralds, the rubies, and the sapphires. They were easy to spot in the snow, but not the diamond," he finished miserably. "We couldn't find it anywhere. It's impossible." "Impossible for you, perhaps," came the frosty reply, "but I am the Queen, and if I wish something done, it will be done." The very next day, posters appeared all over the kingdom. "I hereby offer 1,000,000 gold coins for the return of my diamond. No questions asked," the posters announced. "To whomever finds my jewel and returns it in 30 days exactly, and not a second later." It was signed, the Queen. Now, it just so happened that the jewel was found. 30 days after the Queen's posters went up, it was discovered by a little boy playing in the snow near the road that passed the Jewish quarter of the city. "How wonderful," cried his mother when the boy showed it to her. "The Queen will be so pleased she'll give us the reward," said his little sister. "Pleased indeed," said the boy's father, shaking his head. "Our dear Queen will decide we're thieves and blame all the Jews for stealing her diamond instead." Soon a crowd of neighbors had gathered, each offering an opinion. "Don't be a fool, boy," said one. "We should hide the diamond and pray that the Queen never finds it." "We can't do that. That's just as bad as stealing it," said another. After much arguing, the Jews of the town did what they always did when faced with an impossible problem. They hurried down the lane and crowded themselves into the tiny cottage of Gittel the Wise. Old Gittel sat and nodded as she listened to their arguments. The townspeople might exclaim or plead or wring their hands, but Gittel merely nodded more, pressing one finger into her wrinkled cheek. When she had heard everyone's ideas, she nodded firmly one last time. "Don't worry, my friends," she announced, patting the table beside her. "Just put the jewel here and leave the rest to me." "But what will you do?" asked the little boy who had found the diamond. "If we don't return the jewel by midnight tonight, we won't get the reward." I know, Gittel answered as she motioned everyone out the door. "The stone must be returned at the right time. Now go back home, all of you. I promise everything will turn out fine." Of course, the townspeople did not go back home. As the sun set, they pretended to admire Gittel's garden or to mend her gate, but really they were waiting for her to decide what to do. The later it became, the greater their impatience grew, until they could bear it no longer. "What could Gittel be thinking?" someone muttered. "It's awfully late. Why is she waiting until the last minute? Let's just take a peek inside her window and see what she's up to. Perhaps she's ill and can't get out of bed. Maybe we should go in and help her. Finally, they worked up the courage to look in the window, and they found to their great surprise that Gittel was not getting ready to leave for the palace at all. No, instead there was Gittel sitting in her rocking chair, asleep with a book on her lap. The townspeople rushed inside and shook her awake. Gittel, Gittel, what are you doing to us? Are you crazy taking a nap at a time like this? Don't you know it's already nighttime? I know, Gittel said, sounding annoyed. That's exactly why I decided to take a nap. I'll need one if I'm going to stay up late tonight, don't you think? Now, please, go back home. But of course, the townspeople did not go back home. They stayed right there, shuffling their feet impatiently, as Gittel stirred some soup on the stove. They stared at the old clock ticking away loudly from one corner as she slowly ate her dinner. They sighed as she carefully took off her apron, put on her shoes, found a fresh shawl, and smoothed a few white hairs under her cap. They nervously bit their lips as she wrapped the diamond in a fresh handkerchief, put it in her pocket, and patted it a few times. And then finally, she left the house and began the long, slow stroll toward the palace. Just outside the palace gates, she paused and looked up at the clock tower. She did not rush ahead, even when the bells began to toll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Gong, that was 9. Gittel, they yelled, run! Gong, that was 10. She can't possibly make it in time. Gong, that was 11. It's too late. There was a silence that seemed to last forever. Then, gong, that was midnight. And then finally, Gittel entered the palace gates. From inside the palace, the queen too had been listening to the bells. Their ringing filled her with despair, for surely no one would ever return her beloved gem now. The echo had just died away when there was a low murmuring at her door. The chamberlain stepped aside and Gittel entered the queen's chamber holding out the diamond. What joy, what ecstasy! The queen rushed to Gittel, grabbed the jewel, and covered it with kisses. At last, she caught her breath and pointed at Gittel, who was standing in the doorway. You there! I'll bet you're expecting that reward, aren't you? The queen asked with beady eyes. Well, old woman, you were too late. You didn't return my gemstone by the 30th day. She stroked her diamond. Rules are rules. You're quite right about that, Gittel answered mildly. Rules are rules. In fact, that's why I returned your diamond. My people, the Jews, have an important rule. Do not steal. And it would have been stealing to keep your jewel, which one of us found. Indeed, said the queen, nodding curtly. But you're wrong about me expecting to get the reward, Gittel continued. In fact, I waited until it was too late on purpose. Why? Because we Jews have another rule. Do the right thing just because it is right. Well, of course, said the queen, but she sounded a bit uncertain. Of course you know that, your majesty, Gittel echoed. A great queen like you, so well known for your kindness and honor, always does the right thing. That's why you would like nothing more than to reward my loyal people. I know, said Gittel, shaking her head sympathetically. Such a pity you cannot do so, but rules are rules, even for a queen. She curtsied and turned to leave. Little does she know, thought the queen with a proud toss of her head. I can do whatever I wish. I'll reward my loyal subjects. Rules are no rules. This old woman can't tell me what I can and can't do. The only problem is, how can I reward them without breaking my own rule? The queen sat for a long time, caressing her beloved diamond, lost in thought. The next day, the queen ordered her chamberlain to take the reward of 1,000,000 coins and to misplace 100 of them in front of each house in the Jewish quarter. This was not breaking her rule, the queen reasoned, not at all. A great queen such as herself, so well known for kindness and honor, could only do what was right. So clearly, Gittel outsmarted the queen and turned a blessing that became a curse back into a blessing. But she did it in just the right way. Her primary goal was to keep her people safe. And though, of course, the reward and the gold would have been great, and turned out, I'm sure, to be great, she understood that living up to her values and doing what was right, no matter what was really going to save the day. So, like Gittel, we know that we have to make choices and think hard about how best to approach a difficult situation, knowing that blessings fulfilled with pure heart are always blessings and often enable us to avoid curses. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We continue with the concluding portion of our worship with Aleinu, which can be found on page 283. And if you are able, I invite you to please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. As we turn to page 289 for our memorial meditation, we note with sadness the death of Ruth Susser Shapira, mother of Janet and Joe Westheimer, and Jay and Phyllis Shapira, mother of Michael Westheimer and Elaine Wolf, Julie and Steve Bank, Jeffrey and Nicole Westheimer, Gwen and Greg Lorber, Beth Shapira, Jay Shapira Jr., and Leslie Shapira, great-grandmother of Max Westheimer, Preston Westheimer, Dylan Westheimer, and Justin Westheimer, Reuben Bank, Asher Bank, Simon Bank, Delilah Bank, and Ari Lorber. A private service is planned. Page 289, a poem by Rabbi Stern. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled. It burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down in gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen, yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. Our thoughts turn now to those in our community who have died at this time in years past. As we mark their yahrzeits, we remember them. Edwin Aronson, Mark Abelow, Louis Arbetter, Helen Badish, Herman Badish, Louise Bankler, Gerald Barnholtz, Harold Burns, Ruth Brown, Toba Buxbaum, Beryl Cantil, Debbie Coben, Maureen Wilson Cohen, Melvin David Cohen, Lillian Collins, Eva Cooper, Alex Crane, William DePere, Milton Drieben, Sarah Dubinsky, Julianne Edison, Elma B. Falkstein, Patricia Fisher, Harry Aaron Fish, Mario Friedberg, Claire Frontman, Rochelle Daisy Gez, Sari Gold, Miriam Goldberg, Judy Guggenheim, Kava Gurovich, Herbert Halstead Sr., Jean Harris, Henry Hankin, Shlomo Alam, Lynn Judge, Mark Carpel, Barbara Katz, Beatrice Krasner, Alex Queller, Abraham Lerner, Anne V. Less, Leah Helig Levine, Wanda Mann, Harry H. May, Ernest T. McCown, Joseph S. Middleman, Irma Oppenheim, Hattie Kempner Oppenheimer, Norma Katz Oppenheimer, Orhan Ozmat, Paula Palmer, Peter M. Panfeld, Camilla K. Polin, Evelyn Polin, Mel Pomerantz, Aaron Rodkin, Molly Rodkin, Dr. Richard Rodkin, Roberto A. Rodriguez, Marcus Roos, Rosalie Pasternak Rosenblum, J. Marvin Saltzman, Pearl Sandfield, Ethel Charlack, Morris Schoenbaum, Gunther Strelke, Rosa Tobin, Bobby Unger, Sister Mary Walden OSU, Stanley Weiss, Morty Whitkin, Harold Gardner Wolf, and Raymond Wolf. To these names, we add those who died this past month, whose families are in a mourning period of Shloshim. Remember Tamara Ascension, Estelle Prissy Kaufman, Jean Croft, and Nellie Ambrose. With all of these names and those which are in our hearts each and every day, we rise together as one community as we join together saying the words of Kaddish Yatom on page 294. Dal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'adala v'izman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'olam ulmei almaya, yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha b'richu, le'ela mikol berchata Tushbachata v'nechamata, Damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. You may be seated. Our closing song is Ki Shmera Shabbat on page 330.
Ki Shmera Shabbat yishmereni, Ki Shmera Shabbat yishmereni, oti le'omer beno uveni, oti le'omer beno uveni, Ki Shmera Shabbat yishmereni, Ki Shmera Shabbat yishmereni, oti le'omer beno uveni, oti le'omer beno uveni.
I'd like to invite our temple president, Dr. Amy Benedict, to share some brief greetings with all of you.
Shabbat Shalom. For this week, I just want to tell everyone that we had a COVID-19 task force meeting today. And it seems that right now, the virus has we're kind of at a plateau level. And we'll have to wait to see now that schools are opening. Dr. Lerner was saying he thought it would take about 3 weeks for us to see just what's going to happen with the infections, because probably the children will be mostly asymptomatic, but they may bring it home to their families. So we have to wait and see who gets infected, and we probably won't know that for another 3 weeks. So at this time, we are not planning on changing anything that we're doing. Great Hearts has opened up and is following the guidelines of the public school system. So they're in the building, and the people that are cleaning they're doing a great job. Our maintenance workers are doing an awesome job cleaning and working hard to keep everything, like I said, as COVID negative as possible. So everything's going well with that. We're going to meet again in 2 weeks because we were meeting weekly, but we don't think anything's going to change in a week. So we will keep everyone posted and let you know how things are changing with that. So that's pretty much same. The clergy and staff are working really hard and doing a great job putting everything on Zoom. So we're all very grateful for that. Shabbat Shalom. Have a wonderful week.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We invite you now to turn on your cameras and unmute yourself.
Shalom.
Wish each other Shabbat Shalom.
Good week.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom, Irene.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
See you all.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Beth.
Bye.
Bye, y'all. Shabbat Shalom. Stay
20s,
safe.
30s, we'll kick off the Zoom early since we wrapped early.
Corey, send us the info.
Okay.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Have a good one.
Good, everyone.
Nice to see you all.
Very
See
nice.
you, Sandy and Marcia. We miss you.
Thank you. We miss you too. Yeah.